Welcome back to Red Spotlight Entertainment. I'm Alexis Soto, joined by Alexis Moreno. A little over 10 years ago, we were introduced to each other, and we had such a instant connection in terms of just, oh my god, I found somebody like me that has all the same interests. And just from there on out, it's been a long ride of ups and downs, but the genesis of that conversation really had to do with just a similar passion for the love of art and the love of stories and the impact that left on us at that point in our lives. We were just seniors at a high school at that point. And at that point, from our vantage point, it felt like we had lived a relatively long life of, different stories that shaped us. And throughout our conversations, we found that we had so much in common. We had so much of the same kind of appreciations and sensibilities. And I think from then on out, it was just a pretty easy going, friendship that we've had, alongside all of our other friends here on the channel. We were recently asked about why or how on God's earth, probably what they were thinking, how we made it, or how did these people do 500 shows? For the record, this is episode 530. So it's now 530 shows, but I think the real answer to that question is we simply enjoy talking to each other about what's going on in the world and what's going on in the world of stories. We've had such a vested interest, you could even say, throughout all of our lives about these kind of things. And I think ultimately I think all of us are just very grateful for a lot of what we had and for a lot of what we were exposed to. And I hold very dearly the stories that have shaped me, the stories and the characters and the icons and the idols and the legends who have helped kind of shape who I am and who I want to be in the world. And I give that as context for how painful it really is to, for a second, think that, one, it can all go away, and two, maybe to an extent it has already disappeared. I feel like every person is a collection of all of the experiences and all of the people who they've encountered. And I hold dearly, obviously, to the stories that mean so dearly to us as people. People in general, the more that we've had these conversations, I have found I don't feel fully appreciate the extent to which these stories have meant more than just simple bedtime stories or entertainment escapist films or just a little hobby here and there. I feel like every year I am reminded about how art is something that comes through the human experience. And what was that famous saying that Carrie Fisher, the late great Carrie Fisher, once said? Take your broken heart and turn it into art. I feel, unfortunately, in a very negative context, a lot of artists already have, really, but are about to come to know that expression very dearly, in a much more personal context than perhaps they ever have before. I have said for, I don't even know, I've lost count the amount of times in the last year alone that I've gotten here, on here, And I've said, this show tonight, it's one of the biggest shows we probably ever done and ever will do. One of the most important news items will be discussed tonight, in that it is the culmination of everything that we have talked about the entirety of this program. And all of those times, I meant so under very dire circumstances. And I feel somewhat foolish for characterizing those in that way, considering what's come to light, because it certainly does feel now that every one of those instances has now been dwarfed by something that feels as impenetrable and as overwhelming as a Death Star. I fear that everything that we all deeply felt inside of us was a nightmarish scenario might very well be coming true. And if that's the case, which is certainly looking like it is, I, once again, am forced here to communicate to the rest of you that I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know really how real that's going to be. As far as like a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, what that's going to be ultimately. I think it's one of those things that people are not really going to believe themselves until they actually feel it, which is kind of unfortunately how most people find out about these things. It's like, what? I wish somebody would have told me. Well, they always do, and you never listen. And then it always comes too late when nothing can be done about it. I would just say that, you know, the other day I had the chance to, for the first time, experience a classic film with Peter, and we just watched it, and we had an amazing time. And I feel like, in his very Peter way, he said something. He started out by saying, "If it makes you feel better."
Oh, okay. No.
And you know, of course, it didn't. You know, of course, he wasn't trying to make me feel better. And you absolutely know what he said actually made me feel worse. But because we were watching the 4K disc of Ben-Hur, which is an epic film. It's like almost a 4-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is long, but very much like a biblical story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think somewhere along the line, the context went along to some films that unfortunately have not been released on video, on like disc. And we were discussing how like Criterion announced randomly that K-pop Demon Hunters was about to get a disc, which I love that. I'm gonna get it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that mystifies me, and I brought it up, is, well, you know, that's cool and all, but I do think that there's a series of movies that are very popular, are very much talked about, are also on Netflix, and they don't get discs. And that's the Knives Out movies.
Mm-hmm.
The heck? It's been years. We're waiting on them. And he was saying, well, if it makes you feel better, the amount of films that would be worth owning on disc are about to dwindle considerably. To which, of course, that did not make me feel any better. And it only brought the spotlight back on what we're talking about now. I could say that people that are listening to this might think to themselves, man, this guy's a bit dramatic, isn't he? First of all, you haven't been listening to the show if you think that this is a bit much. It's just right up our alley, personally. But at the same time, I do think, though, we shouldn't belittle moments like these because they are very much the danger that they appear to be. And we're gonna get into all of that in here on this show today. But I feel very much emboldened to just say at the top that no matter what happens, you can't have a substitute for a good piece of cinema. You can't try and manufacture a really good film in the way Sinners is, in the way One Battle is, if you're going to implement the kind of ideology and practices that will soon come to the single most successful movie studio of 2025, who, for no reason whatsoever, put itself up for sale at the behest of MAGA monster David Ellison, who the entire time wanted to buy it for his own nefarious purposes, of which have been already well broadcast and we'll get into today. But that in and of itself was made possible when the Biden administration approved the Warner Brothers Discovery merger. David Zaslav came into the picture the entire time with the sole purpose of this day coming to fruition, which would be selling it away. And in the past week, decisions have been made by stockholders, shareholders, executives, Ted Sarandos, David Zaslav, David Ellison, Donald Trump, the Justice Department. All of these people exist for one thing and one thing only: to enrich themselves. At no point in these negotiations or conversations, and you have to remind yourself of this, did you or I come into the picture. We do not matter. And even their own workers who create the thing they're making money off of never enter the picture in their minds about how they would be affected. Not one time. And I think we are reaching a moment in time now where we need to be having serious conversations about employees having ownership in the means of production, because it is frankly evil. I'm going to say it. I think it's frankly evil. We live in a society in which continuously the rich, oftentimes white assholes, usually with dicks, end up having all the power to play with people's entire existences, and they're only ever motivated by, how can I move from being a millionaire into a billionaire? And if I have to crush half of my company or slaughter them completely, financially speaking, I mean, it's no skin off my teeth. And I would just say that above anything else, with what's about to come our way, not to sound like a MAGA right-winger, unlike a, well, do your own research, but literally be careful where you're getting your news from, because what's about to come our way, it's going to be far worse than how things already are. So, this is episode 530. Two huge things that have changed the world forever happened in the last week. We are coming to you on March 2nd, 2026. Now, we could talk about a lot of things simultaneously, but as has been communicated these last few weeks, Alexis, that we've been trying to convey very clearly, is that the world of politics, the world stage, and the world of film continue to be interlocked every step of the way. And as I have been saying for years now, it is a disservice to talk about one and ignore the rest, to be courteous about people's political persuasions. Our perspective very much on this show is, to hell with that. It's no longer about, being courteous to people's, political opinions, when overwhelmingly one side of the aisle's political opinions means death for the rest of us. So that time has had its day. And I certainly have been of the mind lately that it's just no longer an option to talk about the movie world without referencing specifically the things that guide that world, which is the world of politics, the world stage. People may think we insert the president into our show too much. He's literally inserted himself in what is perhaps the single most consequential decision in the history of movies. He made this happen. And if you want to think to yourself otherwise, you don't have a damn clue what's going on in this world. Anywho, we're going to begin. There's a lot to say. There's a lot of rage. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of despondency. And ultimately, it's hard to know where to begin. I think maybe our initial reactions when the news came was inevitability, right? It's like, okay, well, yeah, this is the worst single outcome, and we've had about 10 years of that happening to us, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. Haven't we been? Yeah, we've had about, this is just, in my view, not to make it all about like, we've had like a million 9/11s, but we have. I mean, we've had a million different moments where it's like, oh, this could be the end, or like, oh, this could be the end, and it just keeps popping up from there. Yeah. So in the last week, Warner Brothers Discovery apparently has agreed to be bought out by Paramount, MAGA-Mount. And then also, not 24 hours later, we entered a brand new war. This really sucks, Alexis. I gotta say, this really fucking sucks. On ways that, I mean, when I say these words, well, duh, it does, but like we knew it.
Yeah.
We keep talking about January.
We kept hoping for the best, and even then, like, the best wasn't that great. But I feel like we never really truly gave ourselves the opportunity to think of, like, what if this actually happens?
And now we're here.
Yep.
Now we're here. What was the saying? I saw someone today on Twitter was like, there are let's see, there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks when decades happen. And I mean, we can't even have the proper time to process what it really means for MAGA to own all of the news channels, all of the production studios, before we're interrupted by another catastrophe on a global international stage happening for no good reason. And I fear that sometimes we do forget that ultimately, while we are dealing with a hapless moron whose health is failing, not fast enough in my taste, we often, I think, fool ourselves into thinking that there might be some strategy on his part. I think ultimately the point is he's just here to be chaotic. He is the storm. I can't ever forget. It was 2018. I was watching Michael Moore's documentary, Fahrenheit 11/9. And somewhere toward the middle to the beginning of the movie, there was a really haunting quote in the film. And it was a direct quote from President Trump before he was president, about like how, most of his life is just so chaotic, and like somebody was asking him like, how does he deal with the storm, with all the storm of the chaos? And he responded, I am the storm. I am the storm. Michelle Obama in 2024, one of the haunting pieces of her speech at the DNC convention was, if Donald Trump wins, and I'm paraphrasing here, no one will be able to hide from his, his presidency, or that this will touch all of our lives in one way or the other. And then I think of Mon Mothma's speech from Andor just last year about the chasm that exists between what is said and what is known to be true. And what happens to us as a people when we allow truth to be ripped away from our hands. What are the good things that happened this week before I get to all these horrible nuclear disasters? Zohran Mamdani continues to do an amazing job as New York mayor and is now the most popular Democrat in the entire state, in the city. He's got like a 48-point plus approval rating. People are loving what they're seeing because they're loving to see a mayor actually try.
Anyone in government actually try.
Right. He's doing small things. He's doing big things. People are loving that. And that's great. While we've had disappointing, useless Democrats say disappointing statements in the last week, we've also had some good ones make some amazing statements. And it's a reminder that not everything sucks. And there is a tide turning. And the tide that's turning is favoring our side. That's continuing to happen. So it's tough. I gotta tell you, it's tough to.
I feel like you said one thing.
I know, but it's already a long preamble, but it is just how things are. I want to take you to the moment that things were happening, just to create a sense. Okay? So for those we should all be aware of, there is currently a war happening in Iran, and President Trump ordered an attack that killed the Ayatollah and various other leaders. This is now the second head of state that President Trump has essentially decapitated in less than 2 months. It should scare people how quickly he's moving on certain things. And it should not go unnoticed that in the last week, not only was he trying to ram through the SAVE Act, which we have been talking about through Congress, which would then disenfranchise basically every voter, which would make the elections useless. And for the moment, it seems to be stalling, so that's not going to happen. But evidently, it was leaked that there are currently there's currently an executive order that's being drafted, which would declare a state of emergency for the president to then seize control of the elections. The things that have happened in these last 2 months are things that you would read about in a textbook of history.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who have ever wondered what it might feel like to live through history, now is the moment. And what is happening every day of this year and every day of this administration is going to go in the history books. Do not fool yourself into thinking that the things that we're talking about here are so hyperbolic that they're some kind of deluded, like deranged, nightmarish fantasy. These things are currently happening as we speak. And we have to remind ourselves of that, because
we can't.
That's what's going to happen.
We can't look away.
No, it can't be. So, this is where we are with this. So, I'm going to read some tweets here that I saved just because, I just had to. So everybody woke up Saturday morning to the announcement that we were somehow in yet another Middle East conflict for no reason. And the president had a deranged video that he put out there, looking strangely with a USA cap. I don't know whose idea it was to do this. They're just announcing that we're at war. Here's here's Coke sipper, fat, demented pedophile president announcing he launched a war on Iran in the middle of the night on the weekend, wearing a hat with the USA in gigantic letters, is just so fucking expletive. It's unreal. Ruben Gallego, the senator from Arizona, which I should remind people, this lady right here had a hand in helping him get elected. So and he's turning out quite amazingly, by the way. Ruben Gallego has, in the last few weeks, but especially this last weekend, has really emerged as a true leader. He even endorsed today Graham Plattner, which is really amazing, because you have to understand that when you're in the Senate, you're under the boot of the leadership, and Chuck Schumer, or Chuckles Schumer right now, is currently trying to rig that race so that his 80-year-old decrepit dinosaur that will lose to the Republican wins, because how dare we have a senator get elected that would challenge him. But things are changing. Ruben Gallego said, Trump ran on exposing the pedophiles and stopping wars. Trump is now protecting the pedophiles and starting wars. Okay. Kyle Kalinske, Trump must be impeached and arrested. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer must resign in shame for not adequately fighting back against this illegal war and scheduling the Wars Power Act for after the attack. So I want to just be clear. Apparently, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are traitors because they wanted this to happen. Both of them are morally compromised through their ties to AIPAC, the Israel lobby, and the state of Israel. And they both secretly wanted this to happen. If they didn't want this to happen, they would have scheduled this vote ahead of time to prevent the president from having this authority, which he doesn't really have. That's what he did is illegal. But again, we're not going to dwell on that apparently. But Schumer and Jeffries wanted the Iranian Ayatollah dead. And now that's happened. Which is why you saw a lot of Democrats, corporate Democrats, go out there and give like really word salad statements of like, while I agree that he should be dead and I'm happy that he's dead, I can't agree with the way that he did it. Those people should be run out of the party, should be run out of politics, because they're useless. In fact, they're worse than useless. They're in the way. So here's Micah. Republican president, a Republican gets elected president, cuts benefits to the poor, cuts taxes for the rich, starts a war in the Middle East. It's crazy. It's always the same thing every single time. Just like that. Nazo, I fucking hate Republicans, bro. Just ruining our lives and everyone else's decade after decade after just Jesus fucking Christ. Miles Taylor, president should not start wars to distract from allegations that they molested 13-year-old girls. Oh, that's the other thing too. There is good reason to believe that the Israeli state has compromising videos of the president of the United States doing illegal activities with underage girls, which you would know probably exist when you look at the over 1 million times that supposedly he is mentioned in the Epstein files. And when you think to yourself, we did this as a nation at the behest of Israel. Because make no mistake about it, Israel wants Iran wiped off the face of the earth. Why would they do it themselves when they can just blackmail us into doing it for them?
We already do everything else for them.
We do. We do. And lately, if you've been catching our recent shows, we've been giving Gavin Newsom a hard time. That's not going to change today. This is the statement that he released, and I love how people are noticing this, and I love how Gavin Newsom is very much digging his own grave before the primary even begins. Especially when it comes to foreign policy, it's just very, very bad. So Gavin Newsom can absolutely not lead the Democratic Party and has to lose any bid for the presidency because they retweeted. Just look at the difference. There are two statements. This is Gavin Newsom's statement on what happened on Saturday. The corrupt and repressive Iranian regime must never have nuclear weapons. I'm going to stop you right there. They don't. They didn't come close to one. Also, very clearly, this isn't even about that. That's the fucking cover story. What are you doing?
If it was, we wouldn't be partnering with people who can't even like come out and say like, "Hey, yeah, come investigate us. We have nothing to hide."
This is how he opens his statement. Okay. He says, "The leadership of Iran must go." Pretty stupid thing to say because they're already dead. They're dead. So what are you saying there, Gavin? Do you agree with President Trump that what he did was the right thing to do? Because so far, that's what it's sounding like. Okay. But what does not justify the president of the U.S. engaging in an illegal, dangerous war that will risk the lives of our American service members, 4 of which are already dead, by the way, and our friends without justification to the American people? President Trump is putting Americans at risk abroad because he is unpopular at home. Did you notice how in that pathetic statement there wasn't even the illusion of a plan of action? He is the governor of the biggest state of the country, and he's like not indicating what influence he has to help anything. He didn't say anything about what he could do or what Democrats should do. You want to lead the party? Maybe suggest what you want things to do. Oh, but that would mean criticizing Apex Shakur and Chuckle Schumer, wouldn't it? Okay. This is what Mamdani said. Today's military strikes on Iran, carried out by the U.S. and Israel. First of all, already. Mamdani acknowledging that this was a joint attack by the U.S. and Israel. Notice how Gavin's statement didn't even mention Israel. He says, Mamdani, mark a catastrophic escalation in an illegal war of aggression. Called the war illegal. Right there. It's like, because it's just so blatant. Gavin didn't even
say that.
No. He used other words that were qualifiers. But Mamdani was like, no, this is illegal. Because it is, right? Bombing cities, killing civilians, opening a new theater of war. Americans do not want this. They do not want another war in pursuit of regime change. Again, in stark contrast, because the first thing that Newsom addressed in his statement was the regime must go. And Mamdani was like, Americans are not interested in any regime change except for the one that we're currently living in our country. They want relief, he says, from the affordability crisis. They want peace. I am focused on making sure that every New Yorker is safe. I have been in contact with our police commissioner and emergency management officials. I'm sorry?
Please help us too. I'm happy that he says New Yorkers all the time, but also I get so irritated because I'm like, I want to be a New Yorker so much.
We should probably just move there at this point. We are taking proactive steps, including increasing coordination across agencies and enhancing patrols of sensitive locations out of an abundance of caution. Additionally, I want to speak directly to Iranian New Yorkers. You are part of the fabric of the city. You are our neighbors, small business owners, students, artists, workers, and community leaders. You will be safe here.
Stop.
Gavin Newsom didn't even care to mention the Iranian Americans that live in this country. Didn't even mention the needless loss of life.
Mm-hmm.
These two statements very clearly separate the kind of Democrats that are malevolent because of how much they stand for nothing, and the kind of Democrats who are exactly what we need right now. Notice how at the end of that statement, Mamdani was like saying, well, I'm the mayor of a city that has a lot of Americans that live in the city. Here's what I'm going to do to protect them. Gavin's the sitting governor of the largest state in the country. That didn't even occur to him to put in a statement.
Nope.
Hashim Mitzi, they bombed Iran tonight. No congressional vote, no declaration of war, no consent from the people, just bombs. While they cut SNAP and Medicaid, eliminate jobs, and deport your neighbors, they found money for bunker busters. The ruling class has always been at war, just not with Iran, with us. Kyle Kulinski, every Democrat who supports Trump's illegal war should resign and be kicked out of the party. No more diet MAGA Democrats. All right. Lindsay OK says, it's every fucking day with this stupid fucking president. Swear to God. Yeah. House of Sugarcane says, we have not had a single day of peace since he took office. Not a single one. Adam Parkhomenko, the president of the U.S., killed children to distract from raping children.
Mm-hmm. That's like the thing that I guess want to say, like, in all of this. Obviously, like, everything is bad, but like at the same time, we also like have to remember, like, nothing has happened here, you know. And like,
to be clear, they deposed Hillary and Bill Clinton. They brought them for questioning.
I don't mean that. I mean, like, yes, we've been hurt in different ways, but like we have not been what's happening over there. Like, that has not happened here. And I think that that's something that we also have to remember. Like, we are victims in some way. Obviously, everything is, related. But like, we're not victims like that. And that is truly like the worst
Yeah.
that thing that's happening right now. You know, like people
Yeah.
are actually getting hurt.
Cenk Uygur. American people seem to have no power at all. No matter how clear we are or how united we are, politicians and national media always support the donors over us. We have one last weapon left: voting. Not for one party or another, but against all the incumbents who've betrayed us. Also, it's well, I'll get to that part later on. I don't want to distract this. Here's Caitlin Johnstone. Fuck the U.S., fuck Israel, fuck Trump, fuck Netanyahu, fuck the rest of these. Zionism, Trump supporters, Republican Party, Democratic Party, war. Everyone who helped make this war possible: the Western press, warmongering think tanks, the Israel lobby, military-industrial complex, the Western intelligence cartel, the Western Empire. I hate everyone who inflicted this nightmare upon my species. If you stand by the senseless U.S. Israeli act of depravity, then I consider you an enemy. And I will never stop reminding people or everyone of the psychotic agenda you supported. You own this. This is on you. It's on you forever. This is a hilarious one by Flyout Chase. Democrats, 1. Pro-war, anti-universal health care, anti-$15 minimum wage, pro-Israel, pro-ICE. Republicans, pro-war, anti-universal health care, anti-$15 minimum wage, pro-Israel, pro-ICE. Hence why Trump won twice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Craig Rosnicki. I stand with Trump trending. Good for you. Here's how that translates. You stand with a pedophile, a rapist, a pathological liar, a sociopath, an adulterer, a fraud, a malignant narcissist, a wannabe dictator, the most delicate snowflake in history, a literal antichrist. Okay. Jason Hickel. Bombing Iran in the middle of negotiations while starving Cuba, while genociding Palestinians, while threatening to invade Greenland. The U.S. and Israel are the single greatest threat to humanity, and it's not even close. We are all forced to live in the nightmare they create. Kim Iverson. My only conclusion is Trump really must be a pedophile, and Israel is blackmailing him by holding on to those Epstein tapes. Otherwise, make this make sense. Yeah. Pretty bad. Not quite done yet. Come on. Did you really think I wouldn't bring homework? I did my homework. And I gotta find is where I put them, because there's so much here. Things are so bad that the day that this happened, you had the likes of Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Tucker Carlson say, this is bad. if if things are bad for them,
yeah.
and this is the other thing too, you can market, like, it was already kind of like gonna happen, but like it's official now that obviously that the Trump people are gonna do fuckery with the midterms, but no matter what, Republicans have no chance in November. This war fucking did it, because when war happens, oil prices are already going up, gas prices are already going up. So it's like they're literally doing everything that you would have to do to lose, and lose badly.
Which is also scary, because it's like, okay,
they don't seem to care.
Because for why? You know?
They don't seem to care because it seems people suspect that they don't think it matters. They're not acting like they're going to lose power.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that's scary right now.
I mean, they've already said it out loud.
Yeah, they really have.
You know?
Several times. So it's like we
and
know where this
obviously,
is gonna go.
like, I'm not saying, like, you know, all is lost. But
right.
It's just, I don't know.
Don't be surprised, basically. But this is how weird things have gotten. So there are a subsect of MAGA cultists that are, I guess you want to say, more pure, that feel betrayed by Trump because of his ineptitude and stupidity. So of those people that I'm referring to is self-described Nazi Nick Fuentes. So in case some people think that, oh, I only present left-wing stuff, well, here's something. Of course, Kyle Kalinske is adding on his own commentary, but I think it's a rather interesting listen.
Do not vote in the midterms, and if you do, vote for Democrats.
Yes.
Fuck this.
Yep.
That is what the Republicans deliver. That is what our golden age looks like. The tariffs were refunded. The deportation.
Tariffs were refunded. No, it would be great if people do get tariff refunds, but they're not. It's going to go to corporations.
Were stopped.
No, they're not. The deportations are continuing, and ICE is still a fucking Gestapo terrorizing people.
They wound down and withdrew the ICE from Minneapolis.
No, they didn't. They're still there.
What does this administration do other than embezzle money,
True.
go to war with Iran,
True.
and bury the Epstein file?
True.
Oh, and blackmail Harvard so they police anti-Semitism.
True.
And ban people who criticize Israel from being in America.
True.
This administration needs to be shut down immediately.
True.
And has forfeited its mandate. They promise no new wars. They promise mass deportations in America first. And we're not getting any of it.
Yeah, you're definitely getting the mass deportations. What the? I don't know why he pretends like they're not doing what they're doing. But imagine a world where, from Al Gore and on, it was nothing but Democratic candidates who won. Imagine that world for me for a second. It's that fucking meme where you're in that like beautiful futuristic city with the sun shining and the sky bright blue and everything looks perfect. If you just take from Al Gore and on, never mind, you know, we can go back further, Ronald Reagan and shit. From Al Gore and on, who was just Democratic presidents, don't pretend like everything would be equally bad. It motherfucking wouldn't. If Kamala was in office now instead of Trump, it wouldn't be this bad. She wouldn't be massacring innocent fishermen from Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela, 130 of them, going total psycho mode. Where the Pentagon is just killing innocent people. She wouldn't have kidnapped Maduro in the middle of the night and stolen hundreds of millions of dollars in Venezuelan oil and put it in a personal bank account. That wouldn't be happening. Okay? Like, let's stop with this false equivalence nonsense. It's not true. She wouldn't have taken us to war with Iran. I'm sorry. If you think everything would have unfolded exactly the same and we'd be at war with Iran and it would look like fucking this, you're out of your goddamn mind. It's not true. None of it is true. So this is the cope that these people fall back on. When caught, they retreat to enlightened centrism like, oh, it doesn't matter who you vote for. The same shit always happens. No, that's not true. I have many criticisms of the Democrats. They have fallen short of my standards in many ways, and I've called them out when they do fall short of those standards. I've been critical when you should be critical, like Biden arming and funding a fucking genocide, right? But stop pretending like everything is exactly equal and exactly bad on both sides. It's just not the case. But having said that, all the Groypers out there, you got your marching orders, plain and simple, vote Democrat. You didn't hear from me. You heard it from your own leader, and he couldn't have been more clear. He couldn't have been more clear there. So now you know the actual edgy thing to do, the actual like, oh, look at me, bro, I'm different, bro. The way to do that is to vote Democrat. And now you see everything fucking Republicans touch, they turn to shit. Every single thing they touch, they turn to shit. It always has been the case. It always will be the case. No matter what they say, they're always representing the Epstein class. They're always giving tax cuts to the billionaires. They're always launching new wars. They're always serving Wall Street. They're always cutting the social safety net and kicking millions of people off of their health care. I don't care what the fuck they say. That's what they all do. It's that simple.
The Al Gore thing was funny.
That's literally your Roman Empire.
Well, because I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, it's like if you go back and we didn't
How many
have the fuckery
episodes has
there.
it been where you bring it up every time?
I mean, look, it's like when things get this bad, you're forced to just like go back and think.
Yeah.
Okay,
where
was
yeah.
Where did we diverge? What was the moment where it all went wrong? The Supreme Court stepping in and saying to the last state that was counting all the votes, you know what? Don't count all the votes. Why? Because we would prefer a conservative president over a liberal president. That's what happened. And the people of this country should be shamed into allowing that to actually happen. The Democratic Party and Al Gore himself should be shamed for not fighting every step of the way and saying, stop the steal. Because that's exactly what was happening. We Democrats keep fucking taking it lying down. And the fucking most persistent, loudest, angriest people, craziest people out there keep fucking winning. What do you think just happened right now? With, what's his name? With the whole Netflix Paramount thing.
Yep.
Sarandos just gave up.
Yep.
He was like, okay, fuck it. Enough. Wash my hands of it. I'm done with it. You wore me down. That's always the fucking problem. That's always the same problem. It's that the people who are the most sensible have no fight in them. They just give up and they field all their power away to the fucking craziest, most batshit evil people in the room. Freaking Ted Sarandos, he got celebrated by Wall Street. He did the best for his company. Fuck him. Fuck him, man. Who gives a shit about the benefit of Netflix? He fucked the rest of us in the ass. Anyway, that threw me away from what I was saying. But it's like when you go back to that moment in 2000, like things could have been different. And you know how it is. So that's just where we are. But since we've used that now to kind of move along over to this monumental deal with Paramount and with Warner Brothers. I mean, it is truly shocking to see what happened here because David Ellison called in the cavalry. He was able to convince one of the key shareholders to have one more final offer. He got Daddy, Larry Ellison, to come in and front up the money, which, by the way, it's all fake money. I don't even know what that even looks like. And a lot of it is Saudi money, too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But he got Daddy's personal guarantee. And then Daddy number 2, Daddy Trump, stepped in this and put his thumbs on the scale. Republicans were they had scheduled hearings because according to them there were these huge antitrust issues with Netflix and Warner Brothers. The minute that Paramount was decreed the winner, those hearings have now been canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Ted Sarandos on Thursday went to the White House. I think around the same time that Zohran Mamdani was there, but I'm not even sure if Sarandos was even able to get to him. He was at the White House, but I'm not sure if he was actually able to meet with him. But something was communicated to him by the president that apparently let we don't know what he said. We don't know what was said. But apparently he was spooked, or he was pissed, or both. And later that evening, it was announced to the world that Netflix was they gave up. And we're out of here.
Great. Great.
So much rage. Here's initial reactions as it was happening in real time, because it was just incredible to believe that this was actually something that was going to befall all of us. Here is Zach Film. A scary reminder that Paramount created a blacklist in response to the letters signed by filmmakers, including many celebrities like Mark Ruffalo, Emma Stone, Ayo Edebiri, and more, that would boycott film institutions complicit with Israel. This takeover of WB would only make this blacklisting even more dangerous for those against the genocide and threatens to silence pro-Palestine artists. Here's John Roca retweeting a statement here. He says, this sums it up right here. There are so many questions about why David, Ellison, and Paramount overpaid for WB and what it could mean for the future of creative-led movies, with Ellison talking about AI and pumping out, I should say, 30 theatrical films a year. This is, here's what that little, it's an excerpt from an article on Deadline. A veteran regional studio head told us, just the debt repayment schedule alone doesn't bear thinking about. If Netflix don't think it makes sense at that price, then what genius at Paramount thinks they can make it work? It's very easy to make savings by cutting budgets and people. It's much harder to organically and systematically grow a business. Paramount's modus operandi has been the former for years under Viacom. Netflix, on the other hand, have shown there is another and better way. They continued, get ready for 30 rehashed franchise movies a year generated by Oracle AI with no one left to market them. But don't fear, theatrical will keep their precious windows to showcase Transformers vs. Superman 8. So there's a lot of panic, and there's a lot of range of this should tell you, I mean, just already like the different areas this is covering. There was one statement about like the censoring and the blacklisting of Hollywood talent that Ellison will now usher in through WB. And then there's also just concerns from a financial standpoint of like, hey, do they really have this money? Because this is really sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
Then there comes this weird statement by David Ellison. He said on a phone call to, his people, if Warner Brothers is going to survive, then we needed to be bigger and we needed to be global. I think he's referring to the Netflix deal there. I think he truly wanted that Netflix deal. And then he says about the Paramount deal, the deal may not close. If it doesn't close, we get $7 billion and we get back to work. I don't know what's going through this man's head. I don't know what game he's playing. It sounds like he's playing both sides just to get some free money, because it may very well could be that, but based on like what we've known, Zaslav has no love for David Ellison. He fucking hates him.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, the decision was taken out of his hands because they initiated a fucking hostile takeover, and then it went directly into the shareholders' hands. And him saying out there, this may not happen, the day before it's officially announced, is strange, right? Like, he didn't say this about Netflix.
He
was
just
like,
being delusional at this point. Like, he thinks he still has control, and obviously...
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see who can stop this, which doesn't seem all that great. Here's Mark Ruffalo. Actually, let me see. Rob Bonta, the Attorney General of California, says that this is not a done deal. These two Hollywood titans have not cleared regulatory scrutiny. They will. The California Department of Justice has an open investigation, and we intend to be vigorous in our review. Sure, that's not really a threat that you're actually going to stop it. And also, you're a California Democrat. Oh, yeah, sure. Like, you're going to do anything about it. Okay. I mean, I'm rooting for you. I am, but... And Mark Ruffalo retweeted him saying, please circle up all the states and their attorney generals and talk about how this is going to kill competition in the industry and drive down wages and product quality for consumers. There are lots of agents in Hollywood who can tell you how past mergers and consolidations have hurt their clients and businesses. There is lots of talent that can tell you the same. Here is Chris Murphy, senator from Connecticut, saying Paramount should enjoy its growing news monopoly while they have it, because when Democrats win back power, we are going to break up these anti-democratic information conglomerates, all of them. Chris Murphy, I love you. I love you saying those words. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I don't believe you, not because
okay.
I don't believe you, not because I don't think you want to do it. I'm sure the rest of your colleagues have no desire to do it. And I'm sure that the newly formed corporation will line up their pockets so that they won't even bother doing that.
Exactly.
So, I mean, hey, I appreciate the words.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad somebody said it. But no, how many senators said that? Oh, it was just you and a few other people? Okay. From your party? Yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And John Tufel retweeted him. A big problem for Democrats is that I just don't believe this. Like, I'm sorry. It's nice that you say it, but I don't believe it will happen.
Yeah.
How do they fix this? I don't know. Removing Schumer would get them some more serious points at least. Matt Stoller. Dems opposed to Netflix buying Warner and are opposed to Paramount buying Warner. They distrust corporate power. GOP. Oh no, that's not necessarily true. I'm gonna move that. Strike that from the record. Okay. Here's a interesting one. This could be a lot of Hollywood actors soon. Susan Sarandon says she was banned from Hollywood for speaking about Gaza, for asking for a ceasefire. She says, I was fired by my agency. It became impossible for me to even be on television. I don't know lately if it's changed. I couldn't do any major film or anything connected with Hollywood. I found agents ultimately in England and in Italy, and I worked there. I just did a film in Italy, and I did a play at the Old Vic for a number of months. I know this Italian director just hired me. He was told not to hire me, so that's still recently. He didn't listen, but they had that conversation. Right now, I kind of specialize in tiny films with directors who have never directed in independent films. I believe this weekend at some Spanish event, as in Spain, she was given an award. I'm happy that she's found an audience somewhere that's not Hollywood, and good for her. But it is a joke that this is what we're doing to a legend like Susan Sarandon.
Yeah.
And by the way, this happened the literal same week that Melissa Barrera was fired and Jenna Ortega quit Scream 7, which, by the way, is in theaters right now. I'm happy to hear that it is an awful movie. And I'm happier to hear that there were some critics like Perry Nemiroff, who is a huge fan of the Scream franchise, that says she's not watching this movie. She's not going to support this film because of what happened with Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. Because literally they can get fucked.
Yeah. It's just so like random that it's happening to her. Because I mean, we heard about like the Mark Ruffalo thing, being fired or whatever.
Yeah,
but like
that's too.
I don't know. It's just such like a random person for it to go that far, you know.
Yeah.
Not that it should happen to anybody, but
no, not at all. Of course not. Let's get into some more details here. First, initial shock from John Roca. And the clip that I'm about to play is speaking directly to whiny bitch-ass conservatives.
The corruption of the news at CBS, the fact that none of their contributors are that they've signed to be a part of CBS now going forward on the news division are liberals, Democrats, progressives, or even centrists. And if they are considered centrist, they're centrists who lean right. So there's no balance there. And I think that's the thing that's important to understand. There's been this cry from the right-wing side of things that, oh, we're being censored, we don't get to speak, even though they've got 5 million podcasts, 40 fucking networks, a shit ton of local television stations spewing their right-wing points of views. They have fooled people into thinking they've been censored all this time, which is utter nonsense. So now we have them taking over TikTok, taking over CBS, taking over Paramount, and now WB, and by extension, will be taking over CNN. Now we're going to have even less places to go to who might criticize the president, criticize the right-wingers, criticize the GOP and the Republicans for the things that we're doing. And this is the thing that frustrates me on so many levels, because now we will not have balance. It'll be just a right-wing echo chamber pushing narratives. And of course, this is also going to affect the franchises that are involved and connected to WB.
John Roca is one of the few people in his industry that's addressing the politics and the movies at the same time. Not like the other shows that just want to kind of like half peek at one side, talk about that, not looking at the big picture. Anyway, here's Vosh breaking down how this actually worked.
Paramount just bought a $111 billion media empire with a $12 billion market cap. Read that again. Paramount's market cap is roughly $12 billion. Warner Bros. Discovery's enterprise value in this deal is $111 billion. David Ellison is buying a company nearly 10 times his own company's size. How? Larry Ellison's net worth, $201 billion. He's personally guaranteeing the equity commitment. Bank of America, Citi, and Apollo are providing $57.5 billion in debt financing. Saudi Arabia's, this is all fake money. We're entering the territory of financial schemes money, where rather than spending money directly, you just leverage it to accumulate debt, and then you use the money that you've borrowed to pay off what you need to now. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Abu Dhabi's Imad Holdings, and the Qatar Investment Authority are providing equity. The combined entity will carry over $90 billion in debt. This tells you everything about what actually happened. Netflix offered $83 billion for the studios and streaming, the good parts. Paramount offered $111 billion for everything, including the dying cable networks no one else wanted. David Ellison attended Trump's State of the Union as Lindsey Graham's guest on Tuesday. Both huge Israel freaks, by the way. David Ellison, massive Zionist. Lindsey Graham, huge Christian Zionist. Big the end times are coming, Israel needs to nuke the Middle East, that'll kick it off. That is it, by the way. That actually is where the alignment is. And that's why they pitched TikTok to the Ellisons as well. That's the reason why they gave US TikTok to Ellison. Remember when they took control of it and immediately it became almost impossible to search up Trump Epstein stuff? Remember that? Literally day one of the control practically. And it was just, you can't look that up anymore. A bunch of left content getting shadow banned all over the place. These people are very unsubtle in how desperately they want to control everything. Doesn't Ellison own a Hawaiian island? Yes. It's anecdotal, but I've seen a ton of pro-Israel, pro-right-wing shit on TikTok since that happened. I wouldn't be surprised. These people are very unsubtle in what they want to do. They put Barry Weiss in charge of CBS, and she immediately turned the entire network into a 24/7 Erica Kirk, interview broadcast. She's insane. They're all insane. They're anti-human. They're evil people. And coincidentally, they're all really ideologically committed Zionists. Really, really, really interesting, Really fascinating stuff. Christian, Jewish, doesn't really matter. They seem to align 1-to-1. And pedos? Yeah, well, that goes without saying. Even if there were laws against this, they would just be ignored. That reminds me, there is a little bit of good news. See, there are laws against this. It's just they're not really enforced. I was going to make a point about how these laws need to be more broadly implemented so you don't only rely on the FTC chair to do anything about it. However, there does seem to be one more warrior potentially, holding tight, right? Holding the pass of Thermopylae, all right? They're gonna protect us from the oligarchy. One hopes, and that is that this is not just a matter of federal concern. The state AG of California also has jurisdiction over this merger. Our only hope. California now the biggest obstacle to Paramount's Warner Bros. Takeover. California has a lot to lose if Paramount Skydance buys Warner Bros. Discovery and could stand in the way of the deal, while Paramount's deep political connections to the Trump admin are expected to smooth the path to federal regulatory approval. Yep. Yes, sir. They've been wanting this for a long time, Remember when Trump sued CBS for editing the Kamala Harris 60 Minutes interview, and then it turned out there was no editing done at all, and then they paid the money to Trump anyway? They folded for no reason. They were doing that to try to suck up to the admin to pave the way for this future merger. Everything that CBS has done, the control from the Ellisons and Paramount, all of this like kiss-assing, all of it is being done to facilitate this. The total control of altogether like, a third, half, whatever you prefer, of all American news and media. An unprecedented amount of control. Never before in American history, certainly not modern history, has there ever been anything even remotely like this degree of centralized control.
Yeah. Here's another one. This is Grace Randolph.
So I do, as I've said before, I think it's kind of sus that you can destroy an industry, maybe society, so a couple of people can make a lot of money. But I don't know. That's what I told you. Capitalism run amok, man. You know, like, I mean, I'm a fan of capitalism, but capitalism with great capitalism comes great responsibility. But we are just, there's no guardrails on this thing, largely because, the Democrats for a very long time, I get a little annoyed because I think the Democrats often try to run campaign on fear. They're like, well, let's not fix it, because if it's fixed, we can't use it to scare people into voting for us. That's what happened with abortion, with Roe v. Wade. And look at what's happening. They've left giant holes in their defense, and the GOP and capitalists are just running right through those holes. So it's tough. Joshua, welcome to the party. I'm glad you got a membership. But yeah, it's really frustrating. Yeah, they've gotten rid of the middle class. I mean, I don't know where we're headed. It's crazy. And the speed at which it's happening is shocking. It used to be that problems would arise for way down the line. You're like, a problem I'll never see. And now you're like, man, it could happen the next year or so. Holy crap, man. Okay.
I gotta say, it was one of the most insane weeks ever. But I do want to leave you with like, okay, what are some ways that we talk about a lot about what are the problems? Okay, what could potentially be some solutions? Look no further than Bernie Sanders, because just today, Enrique Kana unveiled a policy proposal that I better see Democratic candidates use and say they're going to actually do, because this is a litmus test. If there are Democratic candidates who do not support this policy proposal, then they're not serious candidates, and you should not consider them. This is what the policy proposal is. Let me actually pull it up. So I have it right in front of me so I can read what it was that was proposed. They've unveiled a new mega tax on America's 1,000 billionaires that would raise just 1,000 people, 1,000 billionaires, specifically only them, that would raise $4.4 trillion.
That's
just by taxing 1,000 billionaires, you could raise
insane.
$4.4 trillion. The money would be directed to, a lot. This is the plan here. It would provide $3,000 direct payment to every man, woman, child living in the household making less than $150,000. Like, can we just read that again? What it is? What? Provide $3,000 direct payments to every man, woman, and child living in a household making $150,000 or less. Is that like UBI, Universal Basic Income? Is that what I'm hearing? Under this provision, a family of four making $150,000 or less would receive $12,000 that they could use to offset high cost of housing, healthcare, prescription drugs, childcare, or other basic necessities. The cost would be $959 billion. And there's still more. Number two, stop 15 million Americans from losing the healthcare they currently have by reversing the $1.1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act that were included in Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill. It has been estimated that over 50,000 Americans will die unnecessarily if we don't repeal these massive cuts to the healthcare. Okay, that's 2. Number 3, expand Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing so that millions of seniors will no longer have to go without dentures, hearing aids, and eyeglasses that they need. The cost of this is only $290 billion over the next decade. There's still more money to spend from these $4.4 trillion. So let's keep going. Number 4, eliminate the affordable housing gap and abolish homelessness in America by building, rehabilitating, and preserving over 7 million affordable homes and apartments. The cost would be $856 billion over the next decade. We've still got more money to spend. Number 5, end the child care crisis in America by making sure that no family in America pays over 7% of their income on child care. The cost would be $700 billion over the next decade. There's still more money. Can you believe that? Number 6, give teachers in America a raise by establishing a $60,000 a year minimum salary for every public school teacher in America. The cost of this would be $152 billion over the next decade. And finally, ensure that seniors and people with disabilities are able to receive their home health care they need through Medicaid. The cost of this would be $300 billion over the next decade. By the way, this is not Medicare for all. This is not like the Green New Deal, but this is a huge, huge deal that it would touch the lives of so many Americans. This is an amazing plan to raise $4.36 trillion just by taxing 1,000 people who are billionaires. And by the way, these billionaires would still be billionaires.
Yep.
They would still be rich. And look at all the good that could happen because of all that. Senator Sanders said today to reporters, I hope Mr. Musk will be able to feed his family. Sanders' office says that Musk owns $833 billion and would owe $42 billion in taxes under his plan. That gives you great context. So of the $833 billion that Musk owns, he would only lose 42. Am I not mistaken? That still leaves him with hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars left. Do you see how like these taxing these people would not really affect their lives at all?
We used to do it. I don't understand.
Yeah, we did. So good for Bernie and good for Ro Khanna for unveiling this plan. And I do hope that candidates across the country and presidential candidates look at this, because if they're, by the way, to me, this is just the bare minimum.
Yeah.
This is a start. Yeah. This is not like the rest of what needs to, this is not Medicare for all, which
but
we
if
need
they
to be
only run
there.
on this.
But if they're not even going for this, immediate disqualification. You're not a serious candidate. Not at all. So, yeah. Anyway, to close this segment, we have the SAG to go after, but I just wanted to say, what else do we need to discuss? We have something actually pretty big to discuss, but to look, this is the thing. I don't want to undervalue or underestimate the disastrous ramifications of Ellison regime. Just for the WB studio alone, what has happened in the last week? Right now, Scream 7 is in theaters. Unfortunately, it's making a lot of money. That's not great. Jonathan Majors is coming out of cancellation to do a movie for the Daily Wire. Right now, J.K. Rowling and Gina Carano are excited about the new WB under Ellison.
Oh, nice.
Because,
Okay.
exactly. And, what was it? Max Landis, the screenwriter canceled at the height of the Me Too movement, is back, writing G.I. Joe for Paramount.
Great.
This is just a little flavor. A little flavor of what's going to come. And to wrap things up, with, well, actually, there's a couple of things. I have 3 funny clips I want to play. One is preceded directly by the other, but you may remember that the last week there was how can you with so much that happened, but in the last week there was a presidential State of the Union, and this one clip here is the president's message to you. So fuck everything we said. This is what he thinks is going on.
Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, 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 you're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in.
That was President Trump screaming into a microphone that America is winning, and you better not be tired of winning. You're going to keep winning whether you like it or not. And then to distract from that insanity, he brought out as a show and tell the men's hockey team, because the women's hockey team declined the invitation to be there because they're women and they're smarter and they know better, because these fucking idiots really they pissed away their goodwill. Here's Hassan Piker rightfully raking them through the coals.
By the way, real shame for the hockey team. It's not an honor to be there for Donald Trump. I will say it. I don't really give a shit that much, but you are fucking pawns. You are 100% pawns for the Nazi government. The fact that you're willingly participating in this song and dance implies that you don't really give a shit. You don't really see it. You'll turn around and try to hit the apolitical line and go, oh, well, you know, it's the American government. Like, this is for America. We did it for America. It won't be read that way. It will be remembered not as fondly as you think it will be. You know, like those black and white photos that you see from like Nazi rallies and shit like that? This will be in history. This will not be remembered fondly if we have a future at all.
And to me, this is the funniest clip of the week. You know, Trump like saying winning. Here's, you know it.
Trump is the closest thing to God.
Maria Hernandez was deported on Tuesday after ICE raided her Miami home.
You don't know what this is?
To be fair, it cut off.
Yeah, it did cut off a little bit. So, this was the clip of that Trump supporter at the 2024 election. She was like, Trump is, what was the quote?
Oh, yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Trump,
Yeah.
Trump is the closest thing to God.
Yeah.
She's been deported. And I gotta say, the country is better for it. I'm gonna say right now, she got what she deserved, and we're better without her being here. So on that, I can say, thank you, President Trump. We found something we agree on. If you can only deport the rest of your supporters, I think we'd be a much better place. Don't let me stop you. Anywho, enough with this. Anyway, everything's shit. Everything sucks. It's not gonna get any better. Enjoy your life while you have it. Anyway, before we leave tonight, we should comment quickly. The Academy Awards still haven't happened yet.
I know. I think last week I was like, when is it happening? I feel like it should have already happened. But doesn't it usually happen in February?
It used to.
Oh.
It used to, but lately they've been dragging it out until the middle of March. It's not happening until March 15th.
God, we still have so many days to go. I thought it was this
know,
weekend.
like it. I mean, at this point, it's a wrap, and we already know the winners. Like I don't even. I mean, well, not all of them, but we know what's winning Best Picture. We know what's winning Best Director. We know it's winning Best Actress. We know it's winning Original and Adapted Screenplay. So it's like we know a good bit of them. There are some that are keeping us in suspense, and I'm happy that they are. But the point being is, they should have already happened. Like, this season's like, it's a wrap. We've had the Globes, we've had the Grammys, we've had the Super Bowl, we've had the SAG, the BAFTAs, the WGA, not the WGA, but we had the DGA, the PJ. It's like, it's time to wrap this up, and they still haven't happened yet. Anyway, the SAG Awards happened just this past weekend, and we've had some interesting results. The first I do want to say is we had a really emotional speech by Harrison Ford. He's not somebody that lets himself be all that vulnerable too often, but you could tell how much it meant to him and how much the crowd in that room was moved by what he had to say. Genuinely one of my favorite Lifetime Achievement Award speeches, and I'm glad that we had that, because it feels like we've been getting less and less of them. I was so ever since CBS took over the Golden Globes, they've removed their Lifetime Achievement Award moments, and those are some of my favorite ones of the whole shows, and we need to have that back. And they removed them in favor of Best Stand-Up Comedy or Box
Best
Office Achievement
Podcast.
Best Podcast. Yeah. So anyway, there was that. But we had some interesting results as far as the acting races. Here's the gist of it. Nobody knows what the hell is happening for Best Supporting Actress, because Amy Madigan for Weapons won the SAG, and she won the Critics' Choice. However, Teyana Taylor won the Golden Globe for One Battle, and then Wunmi Masaku won that same category for Sinners at the BAFTAs. Your guess is as good as mine. I would just say I would caution about Amy Madigan, because her movie is not a Best Picture nominated movie. So I would go Sinners v. One Battle. And I gotta tell you, if the award goes to either Wunmi Masaku or Teyana Taylor, I'd be happy with either one. I think they're both amazing. I didn't think anybody would actually award Wunmi Masaku, but I'm glad that they did, because she was incredible in that film. And so I'm glad that she's getting that attention. But it's this one's not clear. I got to tell you which way it's going to go. It could go one of three ways, which is really interesting. Also interesting how in that same category you got the two ladies from Sentimental Value. And they're just like, hey, we're here.
No.
Anyway.
Good movie,
you know?
guys.
Yeah. Anyway, Best Supporting Actor seems to be locking up, where before it seemed all over the place to catch people up. Chica Bellordi was the first winner, winning the Critics' Choice. Then the week after, Stellan Skarsgård won the Golden Globe. And then it got a little bit more solidified, where in the last two prizes, BAFTA and SAG, the award went to Sean Penn for One Battle After Another.
Ooh.
And it's looking like he may very well win his third Academy Award when the Oscars happen for One Battle. I gotta say, great winner, though. I mean, he gave it I think a legendary performance as Colonel Lockjaw right there. So, I mean, it's too bad he doesn't care, because I think I saw both times he didn't show up to the events. He won BAFTA, he won SAG, did not care to show up.
Interesting.
So, it's funny though, because he was there for the Globes, but he didn't win there.
He probably was like, I'm not gonna win.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden he is winning. So I think
He's
they're going to force him to go.
I should probably show up.
He doesn't give a shit. He's like one of those that doesn't care. Which is funny, because somebody who does care a lot is kind of having egg on his face. But we'll get to him in a minute, unfortunately. But it looks like for Best Actress, Jessie Buckley all the way. Which I got to say, I don't object. However, it would have been nice to have seen The only people that went for Renate Reinsve for sentimental value were the European Film Awards. I think they're the only ones that gave. At least she got an award somewhere. But I do think that she was somebody worth considering for more prizes. But I'm not going to argue. Jessie Buckley tore everybody's hearts in two, so it's like you can't really go against that. So there's that. Then comes this, which I think might bring the most suspense of the whole night, and has been something that's been lingering in the back of our minds for a minute here. So, Best Actor. Here's the thing. We started this season with Timothée Chalamet running a rather ingenious marketing campaign for his movie. And not for nothing, that film was very, very successful. And in the long run, I think that was the best move because it kind of solidifies his stature, if you will, as a movie star. So good for him. He won the, I believe, Critics' Choice Award for Best Actor, and he also won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor. And at that point, it seemed, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's Timothée. This is where it's going to be. He has not won since. There have been awards that have happened. He's not won since. And we're going to discuss it right now, and you tell me, Alexis, but it feels like at the last minute, this is getting snatched away from him.
Yep. And I think it's that first speech.
It also just could be that the fact that every speech is the same. Well, we'll get into all that, but it's looking a lot less likely that Timothée is actually going to win, which let's examine the consequences of that. Because personally, do I really want to see him win all that badly for this movie? Not for this movie. I do want to see him win.
Yeah.
I would have been amazing if he had. Here's the thing: it's like he should have already won.
He should have already won.
This is the thing. It's
and
like
that's
this is
so
the
annoying.
crazy thing. He should have already won like 1,000 times already, and the fact that he hasn't is what's infuriating. Personally, I think my favorite two are him playing, Elio. That's his name, right? Or Oliver, is it Elio? Elio in Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah.
And then Lisan Agaib in Dune Part 2. Those are it for me. Like without question. Okay. He should have already won from now, and it hurts me, and I feel bad. I feel badly for him because he does deserve it. He should have already won, but I also feel like somewhere along the way something went very wrong with his people, and either they were playing it way too safe, and it may sound like that's what it is, or it also may very well be that it was just not really in his control at all, and a lot of these older voters just don't see him as a man that's old enough to warrant a win like this. Because how else do you explain it? Because like I'm trying to really see like what happened here. He came out of the gate winning, and then out of nowhere he just wasn't.
Like it's strange, right? Because you have people like, what's the Hunger Games girl's name? Like she won at
Jennifer
like
Lawrence.
what? Yeah, like what, 22, 23? So it's like a kind of a little bit of a reverse, like
It just happened last year with Mikey Madison.
Yeah.
With Honora.
Yeah.
Like they love, I mean, I guess
they love the young actresses, but don't like
Epstein class. I'm just gonna put that out there. I guess that part tracks right there, because they love to award the young girls, but when it comes to the young boys, they're like, you need to be a little gray first.
Yeah. So I know if it's not in this one, he's gonna get it eventually. It just sucks because that he wants it really bad. And like at the end of the day, like he has put in the work, and like how you said, I feel bad saying it. if we're only talking about like the lineup that it is right now.
That's the other thing too. That's that bears consideration, because this is where things started falling apart. There was a big uh-oh at the BAFTAs when they gave the Best Actor award to an actor of a film that wasn't even eligible in America to compete for any awards. That was a big like, ooh.
Wait, I didn't hear about this.
So, oh, did you not see the big controversy? Because it's connected to the incident that happened that night. So, the movie is called I Swear. I forget the actor's name. He's a British actor, but he was playing a real person. The movie was based on a real person who had Tourette's.
Uh-huh.
And the real life guy that he was playing was there that night. And at that night, he shouted out the N-word to Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan as they were on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a whole controversy about that. There's a lot of nuance there. We're not really going to address that right here. I mean, people can look at that. It's not as black and white as it seems, so we're not going to like risk, getting ourselves. But I'll just say that, it really fucking sucks for Delroy and Michael B. Jordan to be up there and then somebody screams that, and it's very fucking uncomfortable to watch, and I felt very badly for them. They had a bit of a roller coaster week though, because at the very end we got some wins for that movie, which I was so happy to see, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so the I Swear actor wins there. Okay. And then this is the thing. Timothee lost SAG. Who he lost SAG to, we'll get there in a minute, but the last time someone won Best Actor at the Academy Awards without winning SAG and without winning BAFTA has been well over a decade. So when you look at statistics alone, that ain't great. Here's the other thing. Yes, Marty Supreme got what? Was it 7 or 8 or 9 nominations? I forget how many he got, but apparently in the odds, it's not looking good to win anything. Like anything.
Yeah.
And it also is unusual for a Best Actor winner to be the only win for a movie. It usually wins something else to go along with it, and that's not being predicted right now. That's another knock right there. Yeah. Now, you could say this. Well, you could say a couple of things.
Wait.
You could say...
We need to go back. Why was he not eligible to be nominated in the U.S.?
Who?
Was it the person with the Tourette's?
So, the actor who was playing that character in that movie was not eligible, I believe, because of release issues. It's only, I think, available there at the BAFTA, the British Academy, and not the other people yet. They haven't seen it, I don't think. That's probably why that's the case. So, you could say that in the case of BAFTA, they love that movie so much that they just went for him, if you want to be fair to Timothee. And then with SAG, you could say two things. They loved Sinners so much, and then also they already gave him the SAG award the year before for A Complete Unknown. So I do want to be clear. Is there a road where Timothee still wins? Yes. I think there's still a road where he wins. Is it the likeliest outcome right now? No, it's not. It's not because of what we've seen. The stats are against him, and I believe there is just this bias against him personally, and it's just the way that it's shaping out to be is not in his favor. Also, do not underestimate the power of unforeseen last-minute swings. A few years ago, no one was predicting Jamie Lee Curtis to win the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. And then, at the last minute, something happened. She won at SAG. And she gave a really good speech. And that changed the atmosphere. So this is a pundit who, he has hits, he has misses. This is Tariq Khan. He says, remember how Jamie Lee Curtis had lost everything until she surprised at SAG? She crushed her acceptance speech and the response was glorious. That's Michael B. Jordan this year. Momentum is firmly on his side as voting concludes. It's very hard to see him losing the Oscar now. That's how he thinks. Now, let me be clear about something. I would not say it is a done deal by any means. I think that this is a highly competitive category, and somehow we haven't mentioned Wagner Moura. He's still in the race to a certain degree because of the popularity of his movie, The Secret Agent, and also just the popularity of himself. Like, he has really won over a lot of people, and they find him charming. There were a lot of tweets that I saw from people who were in the same room as him that were like saying that they found him attractive, which, like, hey, that helps when you want people to vote for you. And I think we're looking at a very interesting three-way race here between Timothee, Michael B. Jordan, and Wagner Moura. Now, the thing about Wagner Moura, if he ends up winning, that would be way out of left field because he's only won a Golden Globe. So that would be also not the likeliest of things. However, the comparison that Tariq Khan just put out there is right there in front of our eyes. Michael B. Jordan, who, by the way, let me put Timothee to the side for a minute here. Michael B. Jordan, in my opinion, is a generational talent and also somebody who should be recognized. I think that if somehow Michael B. Jordan, because that was an amazing moment at the SAG Awards, if that somehow translates to an Oscar win, I would leap from my seat, with cheering for that, because that is a moment that I don't think most people were considering, to tell you the truth. But I do think, and the timing, this is all about timing. The voting concluding at the moment that this happened at SAG, I think that is a very, very real possibility that could happen. Alexis.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I feel like that first speech really kind of irked people away, and I mean, he literally got a standing ovation at the SAG Awards. So I don't know.
Just the speech that Timothee made, and then the standing ovation that Michael received yesterday. Okay, just to be clear for people who may not be keeping up with that. Yeah, I do think Timothee really dropped the ball. And by the way, people might be thinking to themselves, what do the speeches have to do with anything? They have everything to do with it. They have everything. This is not a contest on merit. This is a contest on politics. You gotta put forth the effort. Now, sometimes it doesn't matter. Look at Sean Penn. Doesn't show up to half of the events and still ends up winning. Yeah. That's hilarious. It happens. But
yeah,
Timothee was playing it too safe, and yeah, it ain't gonna happen that way. It seemingly what the case is gonna be. But it's gonna be, this to me is the most one in suspense of the night, and I think it makes sense because when you look at SAG, yes, Best Actor, and then also Best Ensemble Cast. Huge wins for Sinners. I feel like it's getting to a point where Sinners is going to get some wins in there.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see how one battle after another loses Best Picture. I doubt that's going to happen. But I think what's looking rather reasonable is two huge wins with Michael B. Jordan in Best Actor. and Ryan Coogler for original screenplay. Those are not nothing. Those are huge awards. For a film that, I mean, I rewatched Sinners this weekend. It's such a generational movie. A generational movie. We didn't linger on it too much.
I love
it did
talking about the movie.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
I was talking about the movie to my cousins. One of them had just seen it, like, sometime in February. And she, like, brought it up. And then another cousin, she had recently seen it. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, just, like, about everything. I love, like, the music scene. And they were just kind of asking me, like, what did you think this meant? Da, da, da. And I mean, I'm not saying that what I say is exactly what it means. I'm just kind of giving my opinion on it. But I love talking about it. And I love when people are like, oh, wow, like, I didn't see it that way. And they just kind of, like, rewatch it to see these little, like, things.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think ultimately, I think it's really cool that these are the two films that are going to be cleaning up. And ultimately, you, Alexis, are going to be the true winner of this award season. Because I think literally all your favorites are going to be winners. Which is something that I have yet to have. Maybe at this point never will. So,
well,
hey,
doesn't look like it's gonna.
Yeah, no. I do hope that the picture is okay, because halfway through this recording, it went back to being grainy. And now it's being a little laggy. I don't know what it is, but either way, you're still here. You're still there, so we made it work however we could. But yeah. The Oscars will happen at some point. And we may have more on this podcast, as a matter of fact. Peter may or may not join us in just a few minutes. If he does, we'll cut to that. If he does not, then we'll use this as the outro. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Alexis, for being here. Live your life. Don't waste a single second. Things could be better, but they're gonna get worse before they're getting better. So, yeah. Go away. Good night. We're done.